Welcome back, adventurer. Last time you already met the powerful shamans, vengeful demon hunters and many others that might have already interested you. So let's continue meeting the rest of the family, shall we? I'm Orelus and I will be your guide through the rest of the classes of World of Warcraft. Do you like to play with fire? Do you like ships? Have you ever wondered what it feels to travel in time? Do you hate long walks in the beach and prefer to transport to different cities and places at your desire? Then, my magical friend, this class is for you. Mages, the masters of arcane, students gifted with a keen intellect and unwavering discipline that are not afraid of power. Mages demolish their foes with arcane incantations, frost barrages or fire explosions. Although they wield powerful offensive spells, mages are fragile and lightly armored, making them particularly vulnerable to close-range attacks. Wise mages make careful use of their spells to keep their foes at a distance or hold them in a place. A very powerful class to deal damage in any kind of raid or party, and particularly the second class that is master at PvP in general gameplay. Hence, considered the masters of battlefield and arena. Highly looked in a group due to their intellect buffs and immunities. Mages' strength rely on strong crowd control spells, very powerful damage spells, and they are quite fast and able to transport from one city to another with teleport, able to get immune from damage and go invisible if needed, and they can resist via elemental shields. However, as powerful as this class might look, it has a few weaknesses. They have no healing capabilities, they are cloth users and are relatively weak to physical damage, and they are very hard to play to its most masterful level. Mage talents focus on enhancing individual schools of magic, quick, aggressive fire spells, efficient controlling frost spells, and punishing arcane spells. Masters of the arcane with an expertise of time and space, able to literally rewind the time if in need and making mana their most valuable resource to create unmatched burst damage. Mechanically, arcane has always been the turret kind of mage spec, highly single target burst and low mobility. However, do not be fooled, as they can keep up with the power with the multiple target damage or AoE on top of the high burst damage they offer. Arcane mages are one of the most defensive spell class casting in the game. They can either burst or enter in a defensive stance due to their short cooldowns. If you're more the type of person that likes to fight fire with fire or just like to see everything burn, then this is the most suggested option for you. From their spells to the mastery, everything is related to fire. And although they have their power considerably weakened since the last expansion, they still keep up a good AoE fight, where their flames are the strongest. These mages love fire so much that even use flames to cauterize their own wounds. Well, that can happen only once, but still, you know, that's the idea. Here's a flashy and powerful spec that you might enjoy if you love explosions. Perhaps the tankiest of the three specs, also considered by many as the masters of battlefield control due to their slow and rude effects added to their already wide arsenal of control, with a tool for every situation and viability in all aspects for PvE and PvP for frost mages. It is also quite notable that this is the only spec that will be able to have their own pet, a water elemental that boosts both your offensive and defensive capabilities. Do you like being edgy? Are you prepared? You are not prepared! Do you like to be fast and be good at everything, almost OP, while just pressing two buttons? Are your scars your own? Are you into parkour? Vengeance! Vengeance! Then, my edgy dark for demons friend, this class is for you. Disciples of Illidan Stormrage uphold a dark legacy, one that frightens their allies and enemies alike with the power of demon dwelling inside them. The Illidari embrace fell and chaotic magics, believing them to be necessary to challenge their foes. Wielding the powers of demons they've slain, they develop demonic features such as horns, out-of-this-world reflexes, inhuman strength, and even wings that allow them to slow fall over their unsuspecting foes. Foregoing heavy armor, demon hunters capitalize on speed, closing the distance quickly to strike enemies with one-handed weapons that include an exotic and cool-looking weapon called warglaives. Their most impressive feat is to manifest the demon within and become short-tempered, destroying anyone who opposes them. Demon hunters are very easy to learn. One of the most mobile classes in the game that can slow fall, can empower themselves further by becoming a demon, and their self-healing through damage are excellent for solo content. However, they have a few weaknesses, and it's not a very deep class, so don't expect something too complicated. Due to their easy to learn, they are maybe too easy. Demon hunters can command chaotic energies to inflict havoc on their enemies, or they can focus their powers to resist damage and fuel vengeful attacks. Havoc, a fast dual-wielding leather-wearing melee DPS specialization with very high mobility. Havoc is the most simple of the classes in World of Warcraft, yet one of the most fun due to their fast-paced game style. The Havoc Demon Hunter is all about getting close to a target and start hitting them with your blades, unleashing fell energies and becoming a demon to devastate your foes. A highly suggested class for any kind of player that wants to test something new or even start the game due to its easy learning curve and fun interaction. Vengeance. Demons are widely known not only for their destructive capabilities but also for their high resistance and thick skin, one that can even match the sturdiest of shields. So when you think of a thick class, think in Vengeance Demon Hunter. Although they don't have many defensive capabilities in spells compared to other classes, their self-healing and already inherited damage resistance can guide you through any fight. Vengeance can feel at times as a combination of a caster and a tank in one, with special magic circles that offer them utility and perhaps one of the most mobile tanks in the entire game. This class loves to jump from one pack of enemies to the next one, becoming a hulking demon and let their party dish them out. So if you are into speed running stuff, consider this as your tank option. Do you like plants? Do you like animals? Do you like plants that ride animals? Do you like to be vegan and cry every time you order a medium rare steak at your local restaurant? Then my tree-hugging and moon-loving friend, this class is for you. Druids are the most versatile combatants. They can fulfill every role: healing, tanking, damage dealing, either face-to-face or long distance. Masters at shape-shifting and harnessing the powers of nature to heal or deal damage. It is critical that druids tailor their form they choose to the situation, as each form bears a specific purpose. From monkey to deer, a swift car or a bear, that you have the decision in your hands. Druids' strength rely on shapeshifting, and for so they are able to become immune to polymorph effects. Their versatile style and gameplay, they don't need any kind of mount and have a wide variety of defensive spells. And as you might suspect, their major weakness is the difficulty to learn to shift from form to form and class to class. They don't have immunities and not many interesting options in the talent department. Druid talents concentrate on improving the powers of their natural and animal forms, enhancing their ability to summon forth natural phenomena or increase their potency of their life-giving healing magic. Guardian Druids are one of the best mitigation tanks in the game, their thick skin being hard to pierce and absorbing most of the damage or simply avoiding it completely. However, any damage that does get through our thick fur is quickly healed through their quick instincts and a frenzied regeneration. With an array of strong passive and talent choices of mitigation, it makes this tank one of the sturdiest ones from the entire game in any kind of situation, although sometimes it can be pretty boring. A slow, careful jungle cat who specializes in making their prey bleed in multiple ways before finishing them off with large bites. They restrain their enemies and leave bleeding effects, all while going berserk and increasing their overall damage. Able to step out of shadows and pounce their enemies, do a swift combination of strikes and bleeding them and then disappearing back into the shadows like a roe. Although this spec hasn't seen much action in the past few expansions, it still keeps being relevant and hopefully become good as Shadowlands progresses. Restoration. Masters of healing over time effects focused around proactively applying these effects over allies in preparation for incoming damage, then reactively responding to that damage with an additional healing spells and protection. With most abilities being instant casts, restoration druids have exceptionally high mobility and excel in situations requiring significant movement. Utilizing their healing over time effects, they can spread their healing across large numbers of spread out allies, a very desired class to any kind of situation due to their versatility that can offer some additional tools to the group, either in the form of emergency tank or providing additional resources to other healers due to innervate. Controlling the sun and the moon and embracing their astral powers from arcane and nature. A very underestimated caster that is easy to learn and somewhat complex, which usually comes from the decision making around how and when to use your astral power at first, but once you get the gist of it, it can yield in good results. Masters at AoE damage, also good at disrupting enemy forces with living roots that entangle their enemies from afar. The Monkins, or also commonly called chickens, can sometimes be a star in your group with their already powerful skills. Do you like the light? Do you like the singing of angels and the cries of enemies at the touch of your holy sword? Do you charge into battle with the magnificent stallion, all while yelling, "Deus Vult! Deus Vult!" Will you swear to destroy the wicked and be invincible for a short time? Then, my want to be savior of the world, this class is for you. Paladins, a beacon of justice that do not flee from a challenge and stand directly in front of their enemies, relying on heavy armor and healing in order to survive incoming attacks. Their signature moves of Lay of Hands and Divine Shield, which ultimately make them the most broken, are a testament to their true conviction to the light. Whether with massive shields or crushing two-handed weapons, paladins are able to keep claws and swords from their weaker fellows. With certain expertise in the field of healing, these immovable holy warriors have a massive array of defensive spells and buffs like no other class in the game that allow them to become one of the ultimate support tanks or even damage dealers in the game. Paladins have multiple ways of immunity. They can dispel negative effects, have some crowd control mechanics, and burst damage or burst healing. However, it doesn't matter how much convinced you are in light, you are not perfect. They have very severe weaknesses as they are not quite mobile, and outside of the burst damage, its damage can be lackluster, and are heavily reliant on cooldowns, so play smart. Paladin talents increase their ability to heal the wounded, strengthen their capacity to protect their companions, and allow them to deal out vicious damage in the name of justice. Retribution. The Holy Crusaders who use two-handed weapons to turn the power of the light into powerful smashing and devastating abilities, and bring justice and vengeance to their enemies. They bring buffs to their allies with their auras and blessings that vary from protection, immunities, and more, that can find value in both environments, PvE and PvP. These holy warriors combine light magic and shield to defend themselves and allies. These paladins excel at taking damage all while timing their defenses precisely, weaving an intricate rotation of spells and skills to protect themselves and even heal allies that got themselves into troubles. Excellent group utility like blessings, they provide unique benefits such as damage reduction or snare removal to your party members. They also have very strong healing abilities and talent choices to help them keep themselves and their party alive. healers that gain strength through the power of the light. Holy Paladins use powerful healing spells, blessings and auras to keep themselves and their allies healed through dire situations, while bringing the fight to their enemies. Holy Paladins are among the most desired classes in the game due to their large number of support abilities, making them an asset to any raid or party. Whether you are solo questing, world first raiding, high-end raiding, or doing an occasional Mythic Plus, you won't have trouble finding a group that needs a Paladin. Do you like The Walking Dead on ice? Do you like to bring the ouch to a fight? Are you into going to a mosh pit and bang your head to metal music? If so, then this class is for you. The Heralds of Doom, former harbingers of the Lich King himself, the deadly force that once shook Azeroth to its foundations. Now, with a new purpose to defend the world itself, they engage their foes up close, supplementing swings of their weapons with dark magic that renders enemies vulnerable or damages them with unholy power. They drag foes into one-on-one conflicts, compelling them to focus their attacks away from weaker companions. To prevent their enemies from fleeing their grasp, Death Knights must remain mindful of the power they call forth from runes and pace their attacks appropriately. Death Knights have temporary immunity to a larger rate of ailments. They are excellent at self-sustaining and are good at both magic and physical damage. They have good initial burst damage. However, as all plate users, they have low mobility and may be one of the slowest classes in the game. They suffer a lot of downtime in fights and relies on two resource systems. Death Knight talents can bolster their defensive abilities by focusing their ability to heal themselves, increase their damage and spell attacks, or summon forth minions and diseases by making use of their runes. If almost every tank fights to protect themselves from incoming damage and are cautious not getting hurt in a battle as much as possible, then the Blood Death Knight is completely the opposite. A reactive tank, preferring to reverse some of the damage done to them rather than proactively preventing it. They are usually at the brink of death themselves and are able to heal themselves an insane amount of damage, sometimes even surpassing the healing of a healer. A force to be reckoned with and an invaluable asset to any team. Unholy. These commanders of undead armies bring not only a plethora of creatures at their side, from skeletal mages, ghouls, abominations, and more, but are also bringers of plague, famine, and death. If you thought having a curse or a disease was bad, just wait until you meet an unholy Death Knight and dish out all their plagues and crush you with their mighty two-handed weapon, all while they keep use of their minions to leave destruction in their wake. Frost. The cold biting death is at the command of these ferocious knights, using the powers of the frozen north. Frost Death Knights use a variety of bitterly cold abilities to freeze their foes mercilessly, making them an almost unstoppable killing machine, able to stop most of their enemies in place and dealing tremendous amount of damage. And not to mention, this spec makes you feel almost like a mini Lich King running around. It even has its own Frost Wyrm, which allows you to do a heavy AoE damage. Do you want to punch with your feet and kick with your fists? Would you like to have some tea? Would you like to do art with your fists? Are you a martial artist dropout? Well, this class is for you. A master at martial arts, some of them combine a flurry of swift strikes to dish out opponents, while others take on the spiritual energy that they gather in meditation and whip them into healing mists to aid their companions. A few decide to take on an odd style, which combines several beverages to make themselves more resistant to damage. Whatever their role combat is, monks rely mainly on their hands and feet to do the talking, and on a strong connection with their inner ki to power their abilities. Monks are one of the most mobile melee classes in the game and a versatile gameplay due to their three specs. Simple to learn the basics, although very hard to master later. Sturdy in all of their three specs, offer a physical damage buff on their target. And as I told you before, they are another jack of all trades, master of none, and don't have really particular immunities and a poor sustained healing. Monk talents focus on directing their key energy to control the battlefield by enhancing their movement, restricting their foes, and even healing their allies while simultaneously damaging their enemies. Windwalker monks are the true masters of Zen that attack their enemies with fast sliding and precise strikes in a combination of punches, kicks that result devastating to their foes. A sturdy and fast melee class that can perform a flying kick to either escape or engage in combat, perform a flurry of fists to daze their enemies, all while redirecting damage towards their foes. If you ever wanted to feel how it is a true martial artist in action, well, then this is for you. The Brewmasters, the hidden and mysterious form of these monks, makes them unpredictable to fight against. They defend their allies by distracting their enemies with their dizzying brews and uncanny elusiveness, which allows them to smooth damage. A Brewmaster is always prepared, using the resources they have on hand to decide how to survive. They are able to withstand incredible amounts of damage and stagger them on their body, clearing it later by using several mysterious beverages that boost their already incredible stamina. Monks are not only martial artist fighters, and while the Mistweavers still offer powerful strikes, they have instead channeled their mystical powers to heal and restore injured allies, weaving mist with their fists that soothe the body and soul their friends. With an outstanding sustained target healing, Mistweaver monks use their arts to protect and heal while keeping themselves out of danger due to their already inherited high mobility of the class. These healers are among the most difficult to master at first, but one of the most powerful in Shadowlands. Do you think communing with your ancestor is the coolest? Do you think Zeus and Thor are the best gods? Do you think that a magic user should wear mail armor? Would you like to hit multiple times in a row at the speed of lightning? Lightning? Lightning! Do you love lightning so much that unleashing a storm while playing a PvP and kill them with one shot making them cry is cool? Then you are worse and this class is for you. Spiritual guides and practitioners, not of the divine but of the very elements. Unlike some other mystics, shamans commune with forces that are not strictly benevolent. During combat, Shaman place damaging and controlling totems on the ground to maximize their effectiveness while hindering their enemies. Shamans are known as the jack of all trades, but a master of none for their versatility, enough to battle foes up close or at range. Instant spells, healing magic, and even hand-to-hand combat are part of the arsenal of this ancestral class. Shamans have very powerful AoE damage and effects. They can cast while walking, good mobility, and a Ghost Wolf transformation. The totems provide a good utility kit for almost their 3 specs. They have low survivability, not good at defensive cooldowns, and can be quite complex to begin with. Shamans can opt to strengthen their abilities to heal the wounded, empower their melee attacks hitting very fast with natural force, or call upon elemental spells to unleash devastating effects. Elemental Shamans, harnessing the fury of the elements. These shamans call upon storm, earth, and fire to empower them, summoning the power of storms and lightning to strike their enemies down. Like other shaman, they use different totems to aid them in battle with an assortment of utility functions, and even their own specialty, the fire elemental, to help them enhance their damage. Although elemental shamans aren't the strongest of the casters compared to mages or warlocks, they are quite fun to play and can almost feel as their spell casting is instant. However, it's still a solid option when it comes to AoE damage in Mythic Plus. Restoration Shamans attune themselves with the element of water and their curative properties. These shamans use different earth and water spells to heal their allies. Although they don't offer powerful shields or high bursts of healing to a tank, they are masters in healing big groups of people and even avert group damage by linking their spirits together. A very sought class in raiding and big groups for PvP. If shamans excel or shine at something, isn't this a spec. Enhancement Shaman, totemic warriors that equip themselves with axes or maces in each hand, summoning spectral wolves to their aid and calling upon elements of the wind to aid them deliver destruction on their foes with their weapons. The Enhancement Shaman was reworked for Shadowlands, with different skills and totems that help them beat their foes with multiple elemental strikes and fast wind fury blows. This spec is good for solo content and can find a place in certain heavy melee focused groups. Now that you've met each and every single one of the classes and specs available, it's time to get your Hearthstone, prepare your backpack and start your adventure in Azeroth. Don't forget to check our other videos, subscribe and click that notification bell for all of your gaming news and guides. Until next time, see you on Azeroth. For the Horde and for the Alliance!